Welcome back to my channel. What is up, WWE Universe? Prepare yourselves, because tonight's breakdown is about to take you through a shocking twist that rewrites everything you thought you understood about loyalty, betrayal, power, and survival in professional wrestling. Monday Night Raw delivered a moment that felt like history folding in on itself, a moment so surreal it almost didn't feel possible. Two men who once defined an era together and then spent years tearing each other apart stood side by side once again. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, once brothers, then bitter enemies, have put down their weapons for the first time in a decade. Not because they suddenly rediscovered friendship, not because they forgave the past, but because the enemy in front of them is far more dangerous than the war between them has ever been. They have formed a temporary alliance, a fragile, uneasy truce forged out of necessity, and their target is singular: the man behind the Survivor Series ambush. What was once a hunt has become a crusade, and that crusade is about to reshape the entire road to WrestleMania in ways nobody saw coming. The Bloodline story isn't finished. It has simply evolved into something darker, something more unpredictable, and something far more volatile. Raw didn't just feel tense, it felt haunted. You could sense it in the silence, the way the crowd reacted differently, the way the commentary team spoke in lower tones, the way every superstar backstage seemed to be looking over their shoulder. When Seth Rollins made his entrance, the usual swagger, the laughter, the wild energy were gone. What stood in their place was a cold, tightly coiled fury. He walked to the ring with the kind of stare that could cut through steel. As he stood under the lights, the big screen flickered to life behind him, replaying the now infamous moment at War Games when his own finishing move was used to betray the entire WWE Universe. The stomp, his signature, his creation, the move that defined countless victories, had been turned into a symbol of deception. Rollins took the microphone with that barely controlled fire in his voice and said someone had taken the very essence of his identity, weaponized it, and used it to send a message across the wrestling world. A message that his legacy could be stolen, his pain repackaged, and his craft turned into an open invitation for manipulation. He demanded answers. He demanded accountability. And for a moment, the entire arena seemed to freeze, waiting for something, anything, to crack the silence. Then it came. The slow, thunderous, ominous chords of Roman Reigns' entrance theme shook the arena. Months had passed since we last saw the tribal chief on Raw, and yet the energy he carried was instantly recognizable. But there was something different this time. He wasn't the untouchable champion, the smug ruler, the unstoppable force who held the company in a chokehold for years. He moved like a strategist, like a man who saw the battlefield clearer than anyone else. He didn't acknowledge the crowd. He didn't waste time posing or smirking. His eyes were locked solely, intensely on Seth Rollins. And that tension, 10 years of trauma, betrayal, heartbreak, dominance, jealousy, and rivalry, hung in the air like a storm cloud ready to explode. Roman stepped into the ring and began speaking in a low, steady tone that carried more weight than shouting ever could. He told Seth that for years, Rollins had engineered his suffering, crafted schemes to break him down long before his championship reign ever began. Rollins had been the architect of Roman's downfall before Roman ever sat on the throne he now protects. The history between these two isn't just written in matches, it's written in scars. But then Roman pointed to the Tron. That, he said, was not architecture. That was graffiti. That was someone else leaving their mark where it didn't belong. Someone stealing not just Seth's move but their shared past, their shared legacy. And that is when Rollins snapped back, incredulous that Roman would even dare mention the word, our history. The idea of teaming with Roman felt ridiculous to him. But Roman wasn't asking for trust. He wasn't even asking for cooperation. He was presenting a solution. Rollins might want the man who stole his identity, but Roman wants the person who hired him, the person pulling the strings behind the scenes. Roman said this wasn't just an attack on CM Punk or Rollins, or even the WWE Universe. This was a calculated power play by someone who believes they can operate behind the curtain of Roman's kingdom without consequence. As Roman stepped closer, The two men stood nearly forehead to forehead, the electricity between them almost tangible. He told Seth to think, not as a showman, not as a visionary obsessed with chaos, but as someone who understands how shadows operate. Someone wants them divided. Someone benefits from them fighting while the real threat works unseen. Slowly, the realization began to break across Rollins' expression. As much as he hated to admit it, they were facing a shared enemy, someone with motives deeper and darker than anything they have faced in years. This alliance, temporary, fragile, and doomed to shatter at some point, has created a powder keg situation in WWE. The questions are massive. Who is the mastermind behind the Survivor Series attack? Who has the power, resources, and audacity to manipulate two of the greatest wrestlers of their generation? How long before this truce between Rollins and Reigns collapses under the weight of their mutual resentment? And who stands to gain the most from their destruction? Every clue matters now. Every backstage segment, every shadow, every cryptic promo, every sudden disappearance could be a piece of the puzzle. This story is not just unfolding, it is erupting. As Raw continues to escalate, Rollins and Reigns find themselves walking a dangerous tightrope. Their alliance doesn't erase betrayal. It doesn't erase the heartbreak of the Shield's implosion. It doesn't erase a decade of violence, of title chases, of stolen opportunities, of mind games. What it does erase for the moment is the barrier between them and the truth. Their combined fury is now aimed at whoever dared to challenge their history. This mystery man, this phantom attacker, has become the most hunted figure in WWE. And the mastermind behind him? That person may very well be rewriting the future of the entire company. The coming weeks will determine everything. New alliances may form. Old grudges will resurface. Hidden motives will come to light. And somewhere in the shadows, the puppet master will make another move. The visionary and the tribal chief are now walking the same path, but that path is lined with explosives. One wrong step, one miscalculated decision, and the entire alliance will implode. And when that happens, WWE may never recover from the fallout. So stay locked in, because this is not just a storyline. This is the evolution of a decade-long saga, one fueled by vengeance, power, pride, and unfinished business. The storm is here. The clues are dropping. And the truth behind this conspiracy will shake WWE to its core. Hit that subscribe button, drop your theories in comments, and strap in tight. The warpath has just begun, and no one, absolutely no one, is safe. The tension that now hangs over WWE is unlike anything we've seen in recent memory. With Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins putting aside years of bitter rivalry, the locker room itself feels like it's holding its breath. Superstars who once felt untouchable now look over their